All right, AI, enterprise asset management, operational asset management. The world is getting wild. So, living in the world of Maximo, we're seeing all kinds of different attempts at leveraging AI. We're seeing good, we're seeing bad. We're seeing people look to alternative platforms and alternative solutions that are promising more advanced AI faster. And when we look at all of this, if you've watched some of our other videos, we often talk about how building a solid asset management program, a solid reliability program is like building a building. You can't just jump from the foundation to the third floor. You got to build that first and second floor. And as you're building, you don't want your elevator shaft to go 9 floors when your structural steel is only 1 floor, right? It's going to be unstable. So there has to be some symmetry in what's being built as well. And what we're seeing is an assumption that in the world of AI, that those rules no longer apply. And the reality is they apply just as much as they ever did. In fact, sometimes more. Why more? Because AI is taking this massive body of knowledge built by humans and executing on it at insane speed. So we can't stay ahead of it. It's always running out ahead of us. So we got to have an even better plan for AI than we had for the humans. So if we don't have a good plan for the humans, then our plan probably is abysmal for AI. That's just the nature of the beast. So with that said, let's talk about what it takes to put together a solid plan for how to deploy AI in this world. And let's start with our end goal. I want an AI prediction engine that will take a look at my operational assets and tell me what I need to do to make sure that we don't have unplanned production downtime. It's going to predict what needs to be done. It's going to find those little lurking in the dark secrets and expose them so that we can act. That's great. Is it possible? To an extent, yeah, absolutely. Can it do it with what we currently have available to us? On average, from the customers over the last 30 years that I've seen and the data sets, there's not enough data there. Does that mean you in your organization don't have enough data? No. But on average, we relied on human knowledge of the people in our plants that had been there for 25, 30 years. And all of the stuff they collected and never wrote down and is not in the system. And that's the gap. And that's what we're trying to rebuild. So, AI prediction engine, yeah, it's entirely possible. But we're going to have to go through a stack of foundational layers that are going to enable that to happen. So, let's start with number 1. It's still all about the people. Why? Because regardless of what the AI tells us and teaches us, our people are still going to be on the front line of getting it done. And there are jobs in this world where you don't have to understand what you're doing or why you're doing it, just as long as you do it exactly as you're told, and the end result will be met. The target quality, the target outcome will be met. That's often what we see in your traditional, factory line worker type scenario. But that's not what this is. That's not what this industry is about. This industry is about people understanding why they're doing what they're doing, how it impacts production, how it enables your company to produce what it produces with the quality that is expected. And so that means our people have to be higher skilled. They have to have a deeper understanding of what we're doing. They have to have a deeper understanding of why it needs to be done a certain way. That helps them identify when things are potential anomalies or out of alignment versus specifically known to be. And they understand the goals. They understand the processes, and there's a culture that's built around them. And all of those reinforce the ultimate quality that is produced. And it's through that overarching quality that we see that we root out that unplanned production downtime. So the people are number one. The number two is the goals. And when the people understand the goals, they start to shift how they do things, and they start to think about the goal and why they're doing it. And that helps with a combination of motivation as well as prediction at that technician level. When we know what the goal is and we're seeing what we're doing and we believe it may not achieve that goal, we call that out. And that's really important. So clearly defined goals are critical to not only enabling our people, but also enabling AI to act as an augmentation to those people that we have in our plants who are helping to manage our assets. The third is going to be the processes. The processes dictate the best way to perform something in this environmental context. What we are making, why we are making it, what the output expectations are for our customer, all of these things, regulatory oversights, this will dictate what our process is. And that, knowing that process end to end is critically important to be able to predict based upon what the input is, what will my output be. And when our boots on the ground, our technicians, our people go to either maintain or operate the assets that are involved with the process, their understanding of the process, and it goes back to the goal of why they're doing it. And in that process, what I need to hand off to the next stage, at what quality level, in what time frame, what those constraints are, that helps us ensure an overarching system of quality and predictable production that is safe. When we operate precisely, we tend to operate more safely, and that matters. And AI has the luxury of operating in a vacuum that doesn't touch these real world conditions. So coaching our AI with our processes and practices and why we do it the way we do it is critically important to bring into AI the real world constraints that we're experiencing in the physical world, so that it's more able to produce a result that is truly executable by the humans that are at the plant floor. The fourth component is the culture. A total absence of culture would have us all working as independent agents, not really communicating, not passing on any extra information or data that might be helpful beyond what the bare minimum data set required is. And when we look at the current state of affairs in many organizations where the data in Maximo or their other EAM CMMS platform is poor, yet they're able to keep it running, that really just reemphasizes how important the culture is. That means those people are talking, they're communicating, they're sharing all of that. It's in their heads and they're sharing it because it's not in the system, and they're keeping the plant running. So as we move to an AI forward posture and we use it to coach and augment the people that we have on the plant floor, we have to look at culture and ensure that we're not eroding it. We may be shifting it, but we also want to be reinforcing it. We want the culture to see AI as a powerful new team member that can help us find nuances faster, make improvements faster, do things better, increase quality, increase efficiency. And that's not going to happen if AI is seen as a cultural replacement or is being pushed out in that manner. So culture is critical. AI is not in itself going to pick up the culture. And so that's why the humans involved have got to embrace it as a new team member and understand how to bring it in as part of their culture and adapt that culture to work with AI the way it works, just like we would with a new team member. The fifth is the data. The data is still critical. This hasn't changed. Right now, we see by and large that the data resides in the heads of those people who have been working that plant floor for 20 to 30 years. We need to get the data into the system because that's where AI is going to be able to leverage it. AI cannot leverage data that's trapped in a human. And there, in some manners, we will be able to help extract that from the humans, but mostly what we're going to have to do is leverage the human's expertise and knowledge to create that data through an interrogation model. So we brought AI in. AI understands our processes, our goals, and we have brought it culturally into the team. Now AI is asking us, hey, Matt, could you take a picture of that pump? I don't know what it is. I think it's one of these three. Could you picture? Boom. It's interrogating me. I picked the picture on the screen. Hey, Matt, could you take a picture of the nameplate? Sure. Take a picture. Oh, hey, that's made by this manufacturer, and it looks like it was manufactured on this date. It's this model number. Hey, I can pull down the full bill of materials, all the spare parts list, recommended PM plans. Would you like me to do that? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Hey, you know what? I found that, we're not stocking all of the parts for this that we need. And, we're doing a couple of the PMs, but we're not doing all the recommended ones. Would you like me to go ahead and put those in for a suggestion? Or would you like me to go ahead and put them in as active? And depending upon your role, if I have the authority, I'm going to say, let's activate all of those parts. Let's put the PMs in for suggestion. That interrogation model is where AI will help us build out our data set. And once we have been able to really flesh out that data set for our assets under management, those spare parts, and at least the PM plans, if not also additional job plans that are out there for things like overhauls and other major work that's known that will be done. Once we are able to do that, then at that point, we have a foundation to start working toward a true predictive state. But until we have that foundation, we are not going to have quality prediction. It can predict something, right? But it might be predicting snow in Miami, and the chances of that happening aren't very good. So we want to get to predictive, but we want to get to predictive safely. And we want those predictions to actually be better than what we are currently guessing at as a human team. With that foundation in place, we can start to measure the results of our maintenance programs, our PM programs. AI will very quickly help us start to optimize preventive maintenance intervals, identify areas where we should implement PMs that we don't currently have them, and then predict overhaul and major repair scenarios that we're just not seeing. It'll do it quickly. But without that foundational data, we're not going to get good predictions. We're not going to get there. And that offers the opportunity to be spending a whole lot of extra money on maybe not even an improved result. So what do we want out of this? We want to show less unplanned production downtime. We want to show that we are in full compliance with whatever regulatory oversight it may be, and be able to show that daily and prove it. We want to see our reliability increase, the reliability of those assets under management, less maintenance and more production uptime. All that translates into an ROI, return on an investment, and that can come in terms of the cost per unit sold, a reduction in on-hand spare parts, a reduction in emergency maintenance, a reduction in expedited shipping, and ultimately, I know everywhere I've been, the C-level always wants line of sight to the plant floor. Rarely do they have any ability to see down to the plant floor. When we do this, they haven't. And when the C-level can see what's going on at the plant floor, and they can see that things are in compliance, they can see that there is a lower cost per unit sold than there was the month or year before. When they can see on-hand inventory numbers decreasing, they see the ROI live, and they're going to keep investing in those people and those technologies that make that happen. So before we go and spend a lot of money on hyped up AI agents or new apps with embedded AI under the premise that they're going to make us predictive, we should take a look at what it takes, what's the body of knowledge required in order to actually make good predictive predictions, assumptions, suggestions. And if that doesn't exist, then regardless of the hype, the results are not going to come until those foundational components are in place. If any of this is ringing true and at the same time sounds overwhelming, I get it. That we, on this side of the fence, we live this every day, and it's so deep and complex. And at the same time, it all comes back to those foundational components. So wondering where you are, wondering what it takes, how can you start to implement AI in baby steps, where will it apply? Those are great questions. And that's what we're here to help with. We'd love to have a chat, understand where you are and help you understand what the options are in front of you so that you can right size your investment in AI and get to that end goal of where you want to be, predictive or otherwise. So we're here to talk. It's deep water. Give us a call, hit us up, sales@benetti.com. Like, subscribe, get ready with Benetti.